submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting at 10:43 a.m. and thank you for your attendance. And I'll just adjourn the meeting. Keep going with the budget submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting. With no apologies, there's no other business, so we go on to the agenda C1. You want to go into close?
Mayor, I move we go into close.
We have a seconder. Councillor Burkett. All those in favour?
Well, did you do conflict?
Oh, that's right, conflicts, yeah. Okay, well, let's just vote and we'll go in and out. So, all those in favour going to close? Do we have any conflicts? Councillor Ladbrook.
Yep, I, Councillor Ladbrook, declare that I have a material interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B, for the agenda number C5, with the subject heading draft revised 2020-21 operational business as usual, budget prepared against specific rate modelling scenarios. The name is the Roma Turf Club, who stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss, either directly or indirectly, depending on the outcome of consideration of the matter at the meeting. In accordance with Section 175C 2B of the Local Government Act 2009, I will be leaving the room while this matter is being discussed and voted on.
Okay, thank you. Any other conflicts? Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And I'd love to have some. I'd love to have some advice on this. I'm about to declare what I declared at the last meeting, because it's not clear as to whether we have to do that at every meeting, but I'll declare, I, Councillor Cameron O'Neill, declare that I have received conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item C3. Sorry, I'll start with C2. C2 with the subject heading Review of Proposed Rating Scenario 1 Updated. The conflict has arisen because I am Chair of the Country University Centre Maranoa, and we received correspondence at Santos of approved foundation sponsorship of the new centre. I have determined this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to Section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting whilst the matter is discussed or voted on, or I may participate in the meeting in relation to this matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, do we have someone to move on that? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Councillor O'Neill has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor O'Neill may participate in the matter, discuss and vote upon it.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0.
And Mr. Mayor, I, Councillor Cameron O'Neill, declare that I have received conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item C3, with the subject heading Rating Scenarios. The conflict has arisen because I'm chair of the Country University Centre Maranoa, and we received correspondence that Santos have approved foundation sponsorship of the new centre. I have determined this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting whilst the matter is discussed or voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to this matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, we have a mover. Councillor Hancock.
I move that Councillor Cameron O'Neill has a perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor O'Neill may participate in the matter, discuss and vote upon it.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8.
Yes.
8-0. Okay, any other conflicts? Righto. Do we have someone to move to go into closed? Councillor Hancock. Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. All those in favour? 8-0. Oh, well. Councillor Edwards.
Sorry, what was that?
Are you in favour of going into closed?
Yes.
Okay, 9-0.
I, Councillor Cameron O'Neill, declare that I have a perceived conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item C6, with the subject heading Petroleum Lease and Gas and Oil Rating Structure Review. The conflict has arisen because I am the chair of the Country University Centre Maranoa, and we've received correspondence that Santos has approved foundation sponsorship of the new centre. I've determined this personal interest is not of sufficient significance that it will lead me to making a decision on the matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibility of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on the matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to section 175E4 of the Local Government Act 2009, A, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or a perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and B, if so, whether 1, I must leave the meeting whilst the matter is discussed or voted on, or 2, I may participate in the meeting in relation to this matter, including by voting on the matter.
Okay, do we have anyone to move on that?
Mr Mayor, I'll move that Councillor O'Neill has perceived conflict of interest in the matter, and notwithstanding the conflict, Councillor O'Neill may participate in the matter, discuss and vote upon it.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie. We'll go to the vote on that one. All those in favour? 8-0.
Mr Mayor, I'll move we go into committee.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. All those in favour? 9-0. Thank you. Okay, do we have any conflicts?
Sorry.
Councillor Taylor.
I, Councillor Wendy Taylor, declare that I have a conflict of interest as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D and E for agenda item LC6, with the subject heading Rates and Charges Rebate and Concessions Policy incorporating water concessions for sporting groups. Because I am the treasurer of the Roma Clay Target Club, I will be dealing with this matter by leaving the room while the matter is discussed and voted upon.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie.
Sorry, a seconder for what?
Oh, sorry. You're going to leave it by leaving the room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we don't need a seconder then.
I'll move we go into committee.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. All in favour of going into committee? 9-0. receive and note the updated rate benchmarking report. Do we have a seconder?
For the committee.
Oh, well, I'll start again. That the committee receive and note the updated rate benchmarking report. Well, we had Councillor Hancock. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C2.
Hang on, sorry.
Are we okay?
Yeah, sorry, you're right.
You're right. Okay, that I'd like to move council receive and note the advice on scenario 1A updated from AEC Group Pty Ltd. Do we have a seconder?
Committee.
Oh, the committee.
The council and the report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Committee. That the committee receive and note the advice on scenario 1 updated on AEC Group Pty Ltd. Do we have a seconder?
Sorry, from AEC Group.
Yep. Councillor Edwards, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C3, rating scenarios. Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that the committee lay this on the table for a future budget submission and financial planning standing committee meeting.
We have a seconder, Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Thank you. C4, rate revenue analyst. We have a mover, Councillor Hancock.
I move that the committee receive and note the information.
We have a seconder, Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C5.
How do we work this?
You might split this. Yeah. So, which would we be able to split? See. Anyway, this is probably all going to be laid on the table.
Yeah, it's three.
Yeah, I'd like to move that this lay on the table till the next budget. I'd like to move that the committee lay this on the table to the next budget submissions and financial planning and standing committee meeting. All those in favour?
Who seconded it?
No, don't.
Just a vote. You can vote. Yep. 9-0. Okay, is that one?
Does that include the yellow section?
Yeah, we've moved. We've laid the whole thing on the table. You need that done, do you? You need that done?
Is that the section?
With the conflict,
Conflict.
yes.
Okay. That's that. We can. So, council had to we'll be declaring a conflict of interest on that if we're going to move it.
The challenge, of course, is that the item has already been moved to lay on the table until the next meeting of the committee.
Can we do an extra motion?
We can do it.
Right, so,
You have to leave.
Councillor Abel, do you mind declaring your interest in leaving just for this?
Yeah.
That one, please.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Just putting the revised. Additional.
Oh, that's
what would have been cleaner is if we'd resolved points 2 and 3 of the officer's recommendation be laid on the table until the next meeting, but points 1 and 4 were adopted and we could have included the addition.
We're essentially adding an extra agenda item.
Okay, we have a mover. Councillor McMullen.
Mayor, I'll move that the committee, one, recommend a contribution amount of $155,000 be put aside from the 2020-2021 draft budget for Project Row 121.
We have a second.
Have I missed it?
But you could make a suggestion that
yeah.
the one,
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I've done it.
and then add the word that. The committee recommends that.
I'll read it again.
And can I just, Councillor McMullen, would it be better to be put aside in the 2020-21 draft budget?
You happy with that?
Yeah, I'll move that the committee recommend that a contribution amount of $155,000 be put aside in the 2020-21 draft budget for Project Row 121.
We have a second, Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. I'll just read it. C6, petroleum lease and gas and oil rating structure review. Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that the committee receive and note the petroleum lease and gas and oil rating structure review and to include the proposed new rating structure in the next draft of the 2020-21 budget document.
We have a seconder. Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C7, sewerage charges, commercial pedestal occupancy rates. Councillor Burkett.
I move that the committee receive and note the report.
We have a seconder. Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C8, proposed differential general rating category, employer-sponsored accommodation. We have a mover. Councillor Taylor.
I move that the committee receive and note the report.
We have a seconder. Councillor Hancock. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C9, materials and services. Okay, I'd like to move that we receive and note the information provided. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
I'm suggesting that the second part be dealt with later in the meeting. Sorry.
All those,
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Or else potentially we could have two resolutions about the same matter.
all those in favour? 9-0.
Who was the movement?
The Mayor,
Mayor.
Guthrie. Is that the wording of the loading?
Okay, we have the next page.
197.
C10, Code of Competitive Conduct 2021. Do we have a motion? Councillor Andrews.
I move that the committee recommends not to apply, number one, not to apply Code of Competitive Conduct to the following business activities for 2020-21. Building certification activity, quarry operations, sale yards operations, waste management, airport operations, water and sewage services, gas operations, land services, roads operations, mainly main roads contracts. Number two, given the level of expenditure in the business activities and the little or no competition for the services provision, the committee sees no public benefit in applying the Code of Competitive Conduct at this time. And three, has been included as an agenda item for the 2020-21 budget meeting.
We have a seconder. Councillor Hancock. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Go to the next page.
204.
202. Thank you. C11, Significant Business Activity Assessment 2020-2021. Do we have?
Mr. Mayor, could I just make one suggestion to what we've got up on the screen? I'll be included in the next draft of the 2021 budget document.
Hang on. Well,
Because it may not be separate. Just realised, yeah.
Included in the next draft. Of the 2021 budget.
Budget documents.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Burkett.
I move that the committee recommend that the results of the significant business activity assessment be included in the next draft of the 2020-21 budget documents.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C12, Statement of Estimated Financial Position 2019-2020. We have a mover. Councillor Hancock.
I move that the committee recommend that the statement of estimated financial position for the previous financial year, 2019-20, be included in the next draft of the 2020-21 budget documents.
We have a seconder. Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C13, gas, tariffs and incentives. I'd like to move that number 1 will receive and note the report. Number 2, I should say the committee receive and note the report, that the committee investigate the projected revenue lost in reducing the industrial gas tariff over 15,000 MUJs and to 0.015 and point 3, recommend that a report be brought back to the next budget submission for the financial planning standing committee meeting to consider the change in gas tariff and draft policy. We have a seconder, Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Point 0.015, just for completeness, it's not a dollar kind.
C14, do we have a page on that?
Yeah,
C14. C14, budget savings. Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that the committee recommend that the draft 2021 operational plan includes a review of net operating costs at function level to further support long-term financial sustainability. This review will consider the Queensland Audit Office report managing the sustainability of local government services report to 2019-20.
We have a seconder. Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Do we have anyone wish to speak to the motion? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Item C15, Curb and Channel, Tiffin Street. We have a mover. Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that number 1, investigation be undertaken on the current drainage of Tiffin Street North. And 2, the committee include the curb and channeling as part of the footpath master plan project to identify gaps across the region.
We have a seconder. Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Edwards, were you hoping with number 1 you get that back for next week so you know a costing on that? If there's any drainage, did you want to add that to be received next week?
Taken on the current drainage to be reviewed. Could I add to that? Sorry.
No, you just want to say for the next budget standing committee?
Is it, and a report is be brought back?
To be prepared for the report be brought back to the next budget.
he's all over it.
All right.
Is the seconder happy with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak? If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour, 9-0. C16, Colbert, corner of Redford Street and Burke Street, Mungalala. Do we have a mover? Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that an investigation be undertaken on the current drainage on the corner of Redford Road and Burke Street, Mungalala.
We can have,
And also,
yep.
could you add the same, similar, that we added there, thanks.
I don't think our officers are going to sleep.
So I'll read that out. That an investigation be undertaken on the current drainage on the corner of Redford Road and Burke Street, Mungalala. You're right. And a report be brought back to the next budget submission to the Financial Planning Standing Committee meeting.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C17, concrete crossing North Roma.
I'll move this.
Councillor,
Move the committee consider the proposal for the draft 2020-21 budget.
we have a seconder, Councillor Burkett. Anybody in opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
It's already listed in the big place. Oh.
That's why.
Yeah.
Brought in the list of projects.
So
Oh,
what,
so you're looking for an alternative solution? Is that resolution?
so what is the outcome of that resolution?
That's my question.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, it's just saying consider
Yeah.
that we, is that in the committee included?
It's already in.
It's already included.
Do you know?
It's already in the thing.
Yeah.
If it's already in there, how did it get in there and then why are we moving something to put it in?
They didn't realise it was in here when
Could
they
we
put
just
it
say
on
that
the
perhaps that the committee confirmed the inclusion of?
Yeah.
Inclusion of the proposal in the draft.
Could the committee confirm that the proposal is included in the draft budget at line 51
So that's
of
what
the project proposal?
Yeah.
I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already listed in it.
Yeah.
Change anything up there about the flood.
No, it's already in the, it's already in the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
So
you,
that,
Back to
From the
Yeah, can change it.
yeah.
So that's not, no, we're not there yet, Sharon.
no, that's
Committee
the,
confirms proposal is included in the,
project proposals of row 59. Of the draft.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Right, we both, we like for a seconder.
I'm extremely happy.
That's over here.
Okay, would anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. If not, no opposition. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, we're on to Lake. LC1, Maranoa dust seal. I'd like to move that a draft policy on dust seals be brought back to the next budget submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting with costing.
Is it the dust seal program, Mr Mayor, or is it just one
It's
road?
just one. It's just one per year.
So policy on, so it's not on a program.
On the dust seal program.
Yeah, per annum.
Per annum.
Per annum.
Should that read that an amendment to the dust seal policy be brought back to the next budget standing submission and financial planning standing committee? We'll have to specify the amendment. We've already got a dust seal policy, haven't we?
An amendment to draft policy. To cater for. To cater for one per, to potentially cater for one per annum.
Yeah. Yes.
Or one per annum.
So the amendment.
Including costings down the bottom, yeah.
It's not a draft dust seal policy.
Oh yeah, drop it
It's
back.
our
Yeah.
dust seal.
And also, just up there to cater for one funded, one per.
One fully funded?
One fully funded.
Dust seal program.
Okay, do we have a second? Councillor Burkett, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour, 9-0. L2, high quality drive for Arthur Street facilities. I'd like to move that the committee recommend the cost associated with upgrading the hand dryers for the toilet block on Arthur Street be included in the next draft of the 2020-2021 budget. We have a seconder, is Councillor McMullen. I'd just like to add the word upgrading, with upgrading these hand dryers. Yeah. High quality, noise, yeah, high quality, hand dryers for the toilet.
Well, that doesn't make,
Well, there's meds and like.
so the committee recommend that it looks like we're upgrading, we're already upgrading to high quality, and that's what it looks like with that, whereas it should be we want to upgrade to high quality.
A high quality. No.
TO rather than.
Upgrading to
High quality.
high quality. Why don't you put high quality hand dryers
That's plural.
for both male and female to make it,
The resolution implies that already though.
does it?
Okay, and we had a second of Councillor McMullen. You happy with that, Councillor McMullen?
Yeah.
Righto, any opposition, anyone wish to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. LC3, Maranoa track upgrades. I'd like to move the committee recommend the cost of, I'd like to recommend that the councillors, no, I would like to recommend that the committee.
You'd like to move.
Yes.
Right, long day.
I'd like to move that the committee recommend that an amount of 50,000 be allocated in the next draft of the 2021 budget, subject to a full. Oh, we don't.
With a full.
Well, that will come much later, so we just don't put the money in, so. allocate-
With the condition that a full proposal be presented to council at a future ordinary meeting. Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so it goes in the next draft and that's the condition. Yeah, I'll read that again. The committee recommends that an amount of 50,000 be allocated in the next draft of the 2021 budget with the condition for a full proposal.
With the condition that a full proposal be presented.
The condition that a full proposal be presented to council to a future ordinary meeting.
At a future ordinary meeting. Okay, we have Councillor Ladbrook seconds that. And is there any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. LC4, additional financial assistance. I'd like to recommend that.
You'd like to move?
I'd like to move that the committee recommend that amount of 45,000 be allocated in the next draft of the 2021 budget. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. LC5, upgrade footpath Arthur Street, Roma. Does anyone want to move on this one? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I move that the committee recommend the costs associated with the upgrade of the footpath on Arthur Street be included in the next draft of the 2020-21 budget.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. LC 6. Oh, we can lay this on the table.
Yeah, I think so, Mr Mayor.
Okay, I move that we lay this on the table until the next budget submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting. All those in favour?
Do we want to say why?
Oh yeah, and can I also put in that to request more information to be received on water consumption from the last 2 years for the eligible sporting groups. Report back to the next budget.
Do you want to read that again, Mr Mayor?
Yeah, I move to lay it on the table and that until the next budget submission, for the next budget submissions and financial planning standing committee meeting to receive information on water consumption from the last 2 years for the eligible sporting groups.
So include right now in between or ineligible.
Mayor read it out. Yeah. Oh, inserted it.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to the vote on that one. We're laying it on the table. All those in favour? And we have 8-0. It's a no.
Oh, I can forget procedure, training and procedure.
Procedure.
complimentary secretary.
Make the second.
Is there another one?
There was, what's the matter, there was that item that we, the mayor didn't read out the second part of that resolution.
We covered
Yeah,
that.
no, it's in the next one.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it
The
is.
old-
Yeah.
The minutes keeper happy with everything?
Thank you.
Is there another one? Okay. Is there any further business, councillors? We'll close the meeting at 7:45 p.m.